This is Susan. Let's get some lights down. This is Susan right here, who's with the publisher of Figure 1, publishers, that handout I gave you, who's published this book with Susan, and she's doing a signing here. These two books come from that signing, so they do come signed. There we go. So this was the cake they had for Prince, and her cutting the cake. But this is Richard, the publisher of Susan, and Gary Wyatt, who also helped introduce her and myself. And we will be having an auction down at Squaxin, and I bring that up because one of her books will be on silent auction. That's signed, and also she very generously sent 3 of her prints for the auction. So the other thing I think I got thrown now, if you want to take one of these, that's coming up pretty soon. It's September 20th, and I know we have a lot of people here from the Friends of Native Art. Penny gets the information out. We really appreciate about what we're doing. And so, if you'd like to get a chance to bid on her prints, which go for at least $1,000 typically or more, that would be a good opportunity. I know Paul's going and Helen, and we'll be bidding against them. So we decided to announce our PNWAS camp out a year early. There was one mistake, so you can start. I mean, summers get so filled in terms of scheduling. So if you want to put it in, it'll be the weekend of the July 24th, 26th, 2015, and this is what the July 18th is. We'd like to know, and we'll certainly send that out to you. Macaw Museum is part of our tour. We had a number of you there at the program this year, and let me go in and to our website and show you some pictures. Tyler Graham, the cook, who was our cook. So we have a chef when you're there, and we have our own kitchen canopy. But this is where we camp, and we hope to get Jim there because he's a scuba diver with this work. Because of the lingcod you can get right off this rock creek. But we also had a big family groups out there for Macaw Days. Let me show you the pictures of our trip in July as they come in. So you'll recognize some of the people here. Gorgeous place to camp. And that's Kadaka Point, Jim, where the reef continues on out quite a ways. That's our preparation for breakfast, center right. We went to the Macaw Museum, and this is Vincent Cook, a macaw who, when he was 11, worked with us at the dig. So, what did you think of his tour, those that went? Okay, did you? Yeah, so we really got it from someone who really knows a lot about the archaeology, but also the culture, of course, as a macaw.
How many people to get? How many people attend that?
Oh, well, this is all of us. So we had about 25 or more. So this picture is all of the group with Vince Cook. So all of you are in there. You can. Is that John? Where's John? So John is our new member who tracked us down when he saw this. This is a picture of John. down at Cape Flattery. What did you think of that, John? I don't think you've been to Cape
I have never been to Cape Flattery.
Yeah.
Was remarkably easy. I expected a lot more.
Easy.
A lot more hours. Yeah.
Yeah. So we really got around the museum down here. This is actually a seagull's nest you can see up there with a couple of babies out of the, you see Tatoosh Island with a lighthouse. I don't know if Vicky's here. Vicky, I didn't see her. The Vicky went into the big area. We're going to have a program with the Bass Weavers Association. You might mention that, but it'll be in the spring, where you'll be camping out. And they're going to be doing some basketry. But this is a Salish loom, just like we talked about last time with the 14 looms that were found in the Ozette house. We're getting like 3 full looms per house and 7 spindle wheels to spin that yarn per house. And here's the guys just chatting, I think, while everybody else is making things. That was our kitchen canopy. We didn't have to use it, but we have a tarp if it rains over the fire pit. Then we got to throw adolels, and we're still trying to work out a workshop to make adolels. Kathleen here, and John throwing the adolel. What do you think of that, John?
I'm weak.
What?
He's weak.
That we were replicating a 7,000-year-old piece, and I think Kathleen would have something to say about the possibility that this is an adolel spear thrower, right? It might be a needle for eel grass. I still go there because the handle just isn't too appropriate. It certainly throws adolels, but it's not always the best handle. You can certainly lose it. Here's Jason and Susan. Okay, well, I just wanted to say that was our latest, certainly one of our latest events. And here's a few more pictures of us gathering intertidal food. I think that's Jesse, Margaret's husband, and I can't remember the dog's name. Do you remember the dog's name? And John again at Cape Flattery. And this is us, our salmon from that trip. I mean, this is from the website. It looked really nice, but ours was as nice. We have 2 nice salmon. What do you think about that, Kate? Who else was there? Anybody else? Yeah, it was great. Yeah, of course. Jake will tell you all about the salmon. They stayed an extra night. Now, you wouldn't believe what I have there now. We have their camper going through a ditch, but we have these amazing bark area now that you've noticed the ditch. So, too many people. It's not just you, it's lots of people. Here's Kadaka Point, Jim, and this is where the reef comes out in the river mouth. But we climbed up there, a lot of us, to gather spruce roots to make string in the old style. And Susan brought her camera, but you can see our camp here from up there. She's looking down. It's quite courageous to take that picture. But here's all of us, Jake and myself, and John and Arlene, all making strings, basically using our claw. There's Kay getting a bunch of materials, and Vicky. But Jason here, he does it the old way. He's doing the string off his toe. Right? You want to show him, Jason? He's going to show you his toe. Where is it? There it is. And here again is the adolel. And this is actually like a needle. Like I say, you can hold it there and throw the thing, and it's kind of actually gives you a lot of control with the way it's built. And this is from a 6,000, 7,000-year-old wet site up in central BC that we had Tyler replicate. We want to do a workshop. This is what we did. We did a throwing workshop and lithic workshop here at the Mountaineers. But we were shooting for the 27th, but we just don't have the time to gather up people that are interested. So I think it's going to be in October at Matt Barkley's backyard in Woodinville. He has a big backyard. He has a beehive with great honey, and so not so. I wouldn't mark that down. I'll send out a date. It's just too soon, and Scott couldn't be here, and Dan's out of the area. The other things that we're doing, and I think we can pass around some more of these too, Kathleen. Let me get you, I should have the calendar on here, but it's certainly on this application for membership. The November 14th is going to be the talk about the discovery of the anchor that they believe is Captain Vancouver's from 1792 that was lost in the currents. And they know why it got lost, because when they found what they think it was really stuck in the rock. I mean, they had to go backwards to get the thing to come up. And so Scott Williams and the discoverer, or Scott Grimm, a avocational historian, will be here on the 14th of November. Now, we have a new one I think you'll like. We contacted the Lower Elwha Clones, Francis Charles. I talked to the chair, and if you remember, we have the Lower Elwha group here 3 times to talk about Zewitza, the big mess that occurred there with the effort to put in a graving yard, finding 300 burials and a huge site. And I asked her, do you want to talk about removing the Elwha Dam and all the heritage they rediscovered behind the Elwha Dam? She thinks that they'd like to do that. And Bill White's their archaeologist, so they found sacred sites, creation sites. They found 6,000-7,000-year-old artifacts in the drawdown after removing those 2 dams. So does that sound like a pretty good time? I know the Mountaineers is quite involved with doing trips up into the Elwha area, so they might be pretty excited to join us. And then the one in later spring is May 8th. We do have a date for that, May the 8th. And that's the release of the Ozette book by Ruth Kirk. Ruth will come up on May 8th and talk about what was involved in writing that book and collecting the research and the history she promoted. And the book will be from UW Press. Will be here to be signed by Ruth, and you can get a copy after it just comes out. We'll have other Ozette people. We haven't talked to Paul and Helen, but to talk, Ruth has Parkinson's, and she's real nervous she can't go an hour. So anyway, we're going to have a number of people like Paul Gleason and yourselves, I told you yet, talk about their experience and involvement in Ozette, how that affected their careers. And the beauty is, May 8th is the day after her 90th birthday.
Wow.
So it's a birthday party. It'll be her 90th birthday party. And I've already told Jim that we would like him to be part of that too. And so that's what we have, and we're still working on that adult workshop and a basketry workshop. And I'll be in touch with Jan Smith about that too. Well, again, Mike, we're really pleased to have Dr. Chatters. He's an amazing scholar. I know he did just the opposite. We're both split personalities. I went to UW and over for graduate work at WSU. Well, he got his BA at WSU and then came over to UW. So we're kind of husky cougars. I don't know if it's the same reason for you, but I couldn't afford to go out of state. So I just stayed in state for graduate work. But in terms of scholarly work, I'm very impressed. He has over 70 published papers and books, and the first one is in 1969, and he'd have been 20 then. And it's called A Settlement Pattern in the foothills of central Idaho with some really amazing archaeologists, Earl Swanson and Chester King. And since then, like I say, he's done over 70, he's done a number of books. A very good one, you can certainly ask him about his work with this, is The Ancient Encounters, Kennewick Man and the First Americans. An excellent book. A new book is about to come out. I sent you some readings, which he's a part of. Certainly getting a lot of research on Kennewick, largely because of the way it went. I mean, they did a ton of research when it came to that overall site, largely because of the importance and how it was focused on as something that needed to be done. He's the owner of Applied Paleoscience. He's been involved in running the contract program at the University of Washington. He's also been a professor over at Central Washington University in his career. He says to be retired right now, but he's as busy as ever. He also has done over 40 research papers at national and international conferences, which is pretty amazing. He was actually gave a paper at the Circum-Pacific Prehistory Conference 25 years ago, which we were the sponsor. One of the main sponsors was PNWAS of this centennial gathering of people throughout the Pacific. So we talked about a million years of their heritage. He gave a paper at that. He comes with an amazing background. I'm very excited about this new discovery he's made, and he's co-director of this project down in Mexico. So he'd be willing to talk to you about any of these projects. His wife is here. Jenny, can you raise your hand? Glad you could make it. We just got to take him for dinner. And then his grandnephew is here too, Mason, who's starting in at UW-Bothell, probably in biology. And we've been longtime friends. I've always been very impressed by his scientific integrity and in terms of really taking the science to the nth degree when it comes to understanding things that are so important. He's actually worked with, I think, 10 of the 50 earliest. 13 of the 50 of the earliest human remains found in America or North America? North America. Okay. Well, we do want to thank you for coming and participating with us tonight and telling us the latest, the very latest on the work that they're doing. So let me get out of mine. And give a warm welcome to